everyone. I'm Rachel, but not here with Ari, so it's just a little old me for your host on the Merry Writer podcast. This week, we're on episode 297, asking, who is KM Allan? Before we start, if you enjoy the show, consider checking out our coffee page. You can follow the page for free as we have plenty of freebies for all. If you're feeling generous, you can become a Merry Writer for just $2 a month, and that will help keep the show going, and it will give you access to bonus episodes and exclusive shop items. But of course, if that's not your style, but you still enjoy the show, then please subscribe wherever you're listening if you're not already. So Kate, welcome back to the show. Thank you so much for being here. For those who don't know, Ari and I had the pleasure of discussing tips for writing a series with Kate back in 2022. So it's been a hot minute. I'll leave the link to that episode in the description if you haven't heard it or you need a refresher. But since it's been a while, Kate, please introduce yourself to our listeners and tell us how long you've been writing.
Hi, Rachel. It's great to be back chatting to you. I had such fun last time talking with you and Ari. Intro-wise, I'm the author of Blackbirch, a contemporary 4-book series about teenagers with magical gifts in a town with a dark forest and an even darker entity at the heart of it. I also write about writing on my blog, which has been around for 8 years now. Writing-wise, I honestly can't remember a time when I wasn't writing, so I've been at it for a long time now.
I think that's the best when it's like, oh, I've been writing for as long as I can remember.
That's right. Yep.
I didn't realize the blog has been around for 8 years too, because
Yes.
I don't remember when I started following. I can't even remember how we met, to be brutally honest with you.
I always just think I meet everyone on Instagram. So it's quite possible it was there. So it's either Instagram or my blog, I think. So
Yeah, it's just like we just started talking one day. But yeah, it's really nice to see your face again and chit chat with you. I'm looking forward to this conversation. So you've been writing fiction for a long time and you write on your blog, and I would like to know, what's your current writing process like?
okay, well, I'm a bit of a pantser. So when it comes to writing, I usually have an idea for, a book or a scene and some sentences or dialogue or maybe, a main character or two, and I'll just write from start to finish, see where it all goes before I do a bit more of a targeted planning after I do a first draft. This time around, though, I'm working on my 5th book, fifth fictional book. Yeah, this one I kind of need a plan to get it written. So I'm actually trying to become a planner, which is a bit unusual, but yeah, I'm having fun with it.
Oh, good. It's really tough to flip back and forth between being a pantser and a planner, because I used to always be a planner and then I tried pantsing, and then now I'm more of a plantser, and it's really hard to go out of your way, especially when you're writing very different work. Because I mean, you have, even if you're a pantser, you still have some sort of a plan. You know how to go about writing it because you're just writing at the seat of your pants. And then when you switch, it's really difficult because it's almost like not having a plan is the plan, and then when you try to have a plan, you're so thrown off. So I totally get that.
Yep, exactly. And I think you're right there when you say the sort of the between a pantser and a planner. So was it the planter?
Yes, plantser.
Planter. Yes. I think I'm a bit more like that as well. Yeah.
It's fun though, because I feel like it gives you more freedom in a way, because you can easily get stuck being a planner and being stuck being a pantser, and you can really just kind of do whatever you want. And if it works, great. And if it doesn't, you try something else. So I like that. Can I ask why you need to have a plan for this next book?
It's just the way the ideas are coming to me this time, I think. Because I think when I was writing like my last series, Blackbirch, I'd been thinking about it for so many years. So I sort of already had it in my head. So it was quite easy just to sit and write it. Whereas this one, I've only been thinking about it for a little while and I don't really know the characters yet, and like a lot of maybe what the story will be. I've only got a few little ideas of it. So it's harder to sort of get started and to know where to start and who to start with. And even picking sort of how many point of views there are going to be and all those sorts of things. I just don't know those details yet. So that's sort of what's tripping me up.
Oh yeah, that's fair. And Blackbirch is 4 books long, correct?
Yes.
So how did you keep all that straight?
Lots of notes. I had quite a few. There was a few manuscripts I did start like years and years ago that didn't really become the 4 books. So I guess there was a lot of just sort of background writing I did more for myself, I guess, that helped me sort of know the characters and know the story better. That, I'm the only person who's ever seen that and probably will ever see that sort of stuff. And yeah, it was just that build up of all of that. But yeah, a lot of notes, a lot of a series Bible, so you can, you know, sort of put everything all together and have stuff to look back on. And yeah, just sort of got to keep it straight like that. But yeah, for some reason it just worked. My brain was just in that story, and that's the way it all went, and it just all came together. And I can't really explain it.
I mean, that's the best way to be, right? If it all just
Yeah.
comes together, don't question it. Just let it be.
Exactly, yeah. Because I'm not one of those writers who can write multiple stories at once. And like, even though this was a series and it was the 4 books, they were still sort of one big thing to me. So it was easy just to work on that. Like, I couldn't have worked on another book at the same time. My brain just does not work like that. I have to sort of stick to the story I'm with and just go with it to the end. And that's what I did with those books.
I envy that because I have way too many ideas and my ADHD brain wants me to write them all at once. And that's why nothing ever gets finished. So I do envy that. But wait, now that you say that, when you were writing Blackbirch, did you write, like, did you have ideas for all 4 books before releasing book 1? Or did you write book 1 and then had an idea for a sequel and you went on like that?
I honestly can't remember because I was working on it for so long, just sort of on and off for years as I was sort of working and things like that. And so then I was made redundant. And because I had all this free time, I thought, oh, okay, now I'll seriously start working on these books. And so when I went to seriously start working on them, I had those 4 ideas there for the 4 books. So I just sort of went with that.
Oh, I mean, that's great. How long did you spend on Blackbirch?
By the time I first started writing it to when the last book was published, it was 20 years.
Oh my gosh, wow.
And it
That's
wasn't 20
amazing.
years of writing it for 20 years. It was about 6 years where I didn't do anything on it except for sort of think about it. From the very start of the idea to when the very last book was published, it was 20 years. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Good for you. Good for you for sticking with that because
Yeah.
I could
Well,
never.
it's one of these things where I kind of had to, because like I said before, I was just writing it because that was what was in my head. It was the only ideas I got. It was the only characters I could think of. And I just went with it till it was done. And as soon as it was done, that was it. I don't think of those characters anymore. I don't think of plot lines for that anymore. Now I'm ready to move on to other things. And that's the way my brain works. So
So, like, you don't miss it. I mean, you probably miss it a little bit, but
yeah.
you're just, it's over.
Yep.
Oh, that's good for you. That's amazing. So you spent a long time writing fiction and then you decided to shift over to nonfiction. And your writing and editing checklist book released about 6 months ago at the time this episode releases. What was the inspiration behind that?
Well, that was basically, I wanted to start a blog because I'd heard on a podcast that sort of when you're, first trying to get out there with your writing, you should have, an online presence and all that sort of stuff. And so I thought, well, I didn't want to just start a website and not really have anything on it. So I'll just start blogging. And so then I started blogging, and I thought, what am I going to write about? Because I didn't have sort of books at that time to sort of put out there. So to build up an audience and to sort of just get something on this blog, I started writing about writing, and I was just writing blog posts based on what I was learning at the time, just trying to work out writing for myself and editing for myself. So all the blog posts are basically based on lessons that I learned as I was learning these things. And then, I was just sharing it with other writers and hoping that they were just as helpful to them as it was for me. So, and over the years, everyone's just sort of have said to me, they bookmark certain blog posts and they come back to it when they're at that stage of their writing, things like that. And I thought, well, that's sort of it'd be a good idea to put all those blog posts that worked into a book so that everyone has sort of one place to go that they can go, okay, here's all the information you need to do this writing and this editing.
I think that's a great idea because, I mean, I've been following your blog for years and you have a ton of good information on there and a lot of useful. And I like the way you present your blog too, because you do write blog posts based on your experience and what you've learned and you're just sharing it. I'm sure you've seen many of those articles where they're like, oh, if you want to be a writer, you have to write every day. You have to have this routine. You got to do this, you got to do that. And you're one of those writers that it's like, this is the way I do it and it works for me. Maybe it'll work for you too. And this is what I've learned while trying to do it. And I love the presentation of that because it's just so authentic and it's personable. And it's such a great idea to compile all of that into a book because, you already have it written and you work so hard on it for years and years that, why not put it in a different format and share it with everyone in a different way?
Yeah, and that was the idea behind it. And it's sort of come out, and it's been really well received, which is great. And yeah, I'm just happy to be helping other people.
Yeah, I mean, I can attest to that the book is wonderful and very useful if for any stage of writing. I mean, I had just submitted my book to my proofreader when the writing and checklist came out. So I was like flipping through some of the editing checklists and the proofreading checklists. I'm like, oh, I didn't do this. Oh, I didn't do that. And I was like, that's a good idea. Why didn't I think of that? So I have certain pages bookmarked and I've written notes and everything. And it's great because I don't normally annotate books like that.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's a good compliment for you.
It is. Thank you. I'm so glad that it's been helpful for you and will be helpful for you. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. No, it's really good because I'm one of those people that I love checklists and like the tasks and to-do lists and stuff too. So it's presented to me in a very well, what's the word? A well thought out way that I can relate to. So it works and I think it's great. But I want to ask, how difficult or easy was it to shift from writing fiction to nonfiction, especially whereas you worked on fiction for so long and you wrote 4 fiction books and then you just made the leap to nonfiction. How did that go?
Because I was doing the blogs sort of alongside writing those books as well. So to me, it was sort of a bit of both. So I was doing both at the same time, both the fiction and the non-fiction. And yeah, it's sort of, yeah. It's different because obviously with a fiction book, you get to work on your plots and you get to work on characters and all that sort of stuff. And I love doing all of that. So there wasn't really any of that in the fiction book. But then there's the checklist, which I love as well. And yeah, putting all the information in an order that's sort of easy to learn, easy to remember, and easy to sort of keep track of as you're editing and as you're writing, with the little, being able to tick everything off and go, yes, I've done this step, and yes, I've looked into this, and yes, I've connected these dots and things like that. So
I didn't even think of that yeah, you're obviously working on your blog while working on your fiction writing. So it's so great that you had all of that content to work with. Yeah, I can imagine that it must have been kind of weird though, because it was more editing than the writing. And I don't know, are you one of those people that you prefer writing over editing, or do you like the editing over the writing?
there's bits of both that I like at different stages. And I hadn't written, because I had worked on those 4 books, because I published those 4 books in 3 years. So to get the 4 books out in 3 years, it was a lot of writing, a lot of editing, and I was very burnt out at the end of it. And so to work on the nonfiction stuff and to work on the blogs was a nice thing to then go into, because I sort of spent a year putting that all together. And it was just sort of the editing, and because the content was already there, it was just sort of shaping everything. So it was just much easier, and it was a good chance to take a break from, I guess, trying to do the harder parts of writing. So yeah, I liked that. But yeah, they are very different processes.
So it was a nice change of pace.
Yes, it was. Yeah, and I needed that break. I think I needed that break because I was just, yeah, like I said, 4 books in 3 years. It was nice to, yeah, take a break from writing. And
yeah, that's a lot. I mean, what a time crunch, but you did it. So, I mean, that's great. But having that nonfiction book must have been like a nice palate cleanser for you.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was a nice relaxing year, I guess, to edit all that stuff and put it all together. But that was fun too, like just deciding what to put in, because it was 7 years worth of content at the time. And so and I'm a real, I guess, hoarder of everything. So I just sort of want to put everything in there. And I had some wonderful beta readers, and they were really helpful in sort of saying, oh, this checklist sounds like another checklist. They're too similar, maybe cut one, and like really helping me to work out what to cut out, because I'm terrible for going, no, everything needs to be in here, because what if you need just this one little bit from something else and all that sort of stuff. So they were great at helping me sort of work out, what was helpful, what was sort of really necessarily helpful, and what could be cut out and everything like that. And that's how I ended up with the 2 books, because there's the writing and editing checklist, and then there's like a free authoring book that you can get from my website. And that was basically all the checklists that I cut out of the writing and editing book, because I thought, oh, this is all still really good content, and I really would love other people to still be able to use this content. So yeah, I put it together in a free ebook.
Okay, because I was wondering about that. When Ari and I were prepping for your episode, we were on your website looking for something, and I saw the authoring checklist, and I was like, Ari, wait, stop what you're doing. There's another one. And she was like, what do you mean there's another one? I said, there's another checklist. And she was like, where? And I shared my screen with her and I was trying to show her, I was like, click over here and click this button and then you'll get it. It's a free download. And she was like, why is it free? And I was like, I don't know, but I'm taking it. We were so excited. You have no idea. I went through the authoring checklist and I was like making all sorts of notes for that too. So even though it probably made sense at the time to cut all of that out from the main book, I do appreciate you still including them as a freebie. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Yeah. Well, that was exactly it. I just sort of thought, well, this stuff's really good as well. Yeah. So I just wanted to make sure people still had access to all of that as well, because there is so much authoring you have to do nowadays, which is, all that writing that isn't writing. And it's, doing your series Bibles and doing your outlines and trying to come up with a routine so you can get writing done and things like that. That's what's in that one. And that's what I love about that one as well, because it's all the other stuff that I love about writing, which is all the routines and getting organized and yeah.
Yes, yeah, the organization, the productivity, all of that. Because I think that's something that so many people don't understand about authors and writing in general, whether you're a newbie writer or you just, you don't write, but you enjoy reading. People don't realize the many hats that authors wear, especially indie authors, because you're really doing just about everything yourself. And it's really difficult to keep track of everything that you have to do, everything you should do, everything that's optional, but may or may not be right for you to do. And it's a lot. And so many people don't realize that. And so to have that checklist and those resources just to help keep you in the right mindset and stay organized and focused on what you need to get done is so super helpful.
Yes, yeah. That's what I love about that as well. It actually has in there, because when I first went on your podcast, I did write a podcast blog about how to prepare for a podcast. That's in there as well.
I think we have that as a resource on our FAQs page. If you couldn't tell, Ari and I love you. But now that you have a few books under your belt, what are some lessons you've learned during these launches, especially like fiction versus nonfiction launches?
You never have enough time to do everything. You always think you do and everything. And it's a lot of waiting as well. Like, especially with the latest, the writing and editing checklist, I had it ready for a couple of months actually. But then I was waiting on some beta readers to finish going through it and my cover designer to get the cover together and things like that. So it was sort of sitting there all ready to go on my end. And then I was waiting for some other people to sort of finish up what they had to do on their end to get it ready. And so sort of you're sitting there waiting and waiting. And by this stage, because I've been working on it for probably over a year, I was really ready to get it out. So I'm just kind of like, I wish things would move a little bit faster and get everything out. So you're always sort of waiting for just stuff really to get it out, but then everything sort of happens at once as well. And so then it goes a little bit too fast and you're kind of like, well, I need it to slow down so I can make sure I'm doing everything correctly. And yeah, which is why I have all those checklists as well for what to launch and everything like that. Because there's so much you've got to do and trying to remember it all as well. Yeah, so that's why I put everything in checklist form so I can remember, okay, this is what you need to do. You've got to do covers, you've got to do proofing, you've got to get even just graphics done for social media for when you're launching, if you're doing cover reveals and all that sort of stuff, and just putting all that together. And yeah, just remembering to do, universal links and to what pages you've got to update on your website if you've got a new book out, and sort of where your bio is everywhere and just all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
It is so overwhelming. I don't know why we do this.
I don't know why either. And I always forget about it every single time until I'm ready to put a book out. And then I'm like, oh, that's right. You've got to do all these things. You've got to know your keywords. You've got to know all this stuff to put in when you're trying to put it in, whichever place you upload your books through and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, it's a lot.
It is a lot. And I mean, that's one of those things is that you think, especially you have that checklist and you write down all the things you need to do. And then as you're working on one thing for the checklist, it creates like this domino effect and you realize that, oh, I have to do this, this, and this, but that's not on the checklist because I forgot about it. So now it's like every task that you check off, you add 3 more and it's like the never ending to-do list.
Yes, exactly.
Also, I definitely agree with you about the waiting. I find it really ironic that a lot of self-published authors, not that I can speak for everybody, but many self-published authors, they self-publish because whether or not they tried the querying process or not, they don't want to wait around because they know it can take years to get an agent, and then it can take a while for them to sell the book, and then it takes years for it to actually get published, and so on and so forth. But when you're self-publishing, it's still a huge waiting game. And the process is still going and it's moving forward, but you don't realize that, you still have to get it professionally edited. So then you got to wait for their availability, and then you have to wait for them to actually do the job. And same thing with the cover artist. You got to give them some time, and beta readers. And it's a huge waiting game, but it's also a lot of coordination with so many different schedules. Because even though you're doing the majority of it yourself, you still have this team, and you not only have to focus on what you need to do, but you need to focus on what everybody else is doing and when. And it's very difficult. Again, I don't know why we do this.
I don't know either. But yes, that's right. Yeah, there's a lot of team effort, a lot of solo stuff, but a lot of team effort. And yeah, you're right, coordinating it all can be a bit of a nightmare sometimes. But then when it all comes together, you get a wonderful book at the end of it. So
yes, yeah, there is a lovely reward at the end of it. I will agree with you on that. But I mean, speaking of coordination and being organized, you seem to have it all together. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but to the naked eye, you do. And your routine consists of writing and authoring weeks. So are you willing to share more about that routine with us? Because
yes.
I would like to know.
Yeah, well, I've had a few routines over the years. This is the one I sort of come back to the most, though, because it's sort of the easiest, I guess, for me to feel like I'm doing a bit of everything without sort of dropping the ball on everything. Yeah, so what I do is I split my weeks up so that one week the focus is on writing. So if I'm writing a book or a manuscript, then I will focus the majority of whatever writing time I have that week on doing that manuscript. And then the next week is the week I'll do all the sort of authoring stuff, which is when I'll do my blog posts, which is why I only post sort of a new blog every 2 weeks, because I'll have a week where I write that blog post and polish and put it together and then publish it. Then it's all the other stuff like the social media, if I've got to make, review graphics or other graphics for snippets and things like that. And just, all the other sort of social media stuff you need to have. If you sort of consistently post your social media, schedules are your best friend. And you sort of need that thing to, well, at least I do. I need that to know what I'm posting sort of every week on social media. And so I need that time to sort of work it out. So I'll spend some time on that authoring week to go, okay, what am I going to post next week on social media? What sort of pictures do I want to take? What books have I read that I need to, take a picture of to say, hey, this is what I was reading this week and things like that. Yeah, so the authoring week allows me to sort of get all that sort of stuff done. And also to, follow other people's blogs, read other blogs, and like listen to podcasts and all that sort of stuff as well, just to sort of stay on top of everything that else that you follow and be part of the writing community and all that sort of stuff. So I spend that authoring week doing those sorts of things, and then the writing week doing hopefully the majority of the writing. Yeah, and sometimes they all blur together, and some weeks you have to do a bit of everything to just stay on top of everything. But I have found that splitting it up just allows me to be a bit more focused on what I really want to get done that week. So that's what I do.
I think that sounds lovely, to be honest, because I have too many things that I want to do or that I need to do. And I wake up some mornings and I'm like, I feel like I'm going to work on this today. And then I do it. And then sometimes I don't. And I start working on something that does not need doing at all, not for another like 3 months. And I just do the little tedious, minuscule tasks that aren't important. And then I save the important stuff for last because that makes sense. And I read your blog post where you described this routine and I was like, I'm going to follow this. And I cannot figure out how to follow it for myself because there's just between the book writing and then the podcast and then business stuff. It's hard. And I'm really glad that you found a way that you could just alternate weeks, but you're flexible enough that if something needs to get done, if like something that you would do on an authoring week needs to get done and it happens to be a writing week, you just shift a little bit and you get it done because it needs to. When it's an authoring week, do you work on your manuscript at all?
Only if I have the time. So like on an authoring week, like this week is an authoring week, I think. Yes. So I'm doing a blog. So I'll publish it on the Friday. So sort of Tuesday is my blog writing day. And then sort of Wednesday I'll edit it. And then Thursday I'll put it together. And then Friday I'll publish it. And it's not just that one blog, because I do sort of 3 blogs a month. I'll try and work ahead if I can. And then, like, for instance, I'm doing a guest blog for your blog. And I've been working on that this week as well. And so it's, yeah, just anything blog stuff I've got to do. So if I manage to get all that done, say it gets to sort of Friday afternoon and everything is done, then yeah, I will switch to doing some work on the manuscript if I'm, got time to put down notes and things like that. So yeah, so if I have time during a week to work on something else, I'll definitely do it. Yeah, the point of splitting them up in those 2 weeks is mainly so I can do these things, I guess, guilt-free. Like, I feel like it's okay for me to be working just on blogs this week, because that's what I need to get done to, have those things ready. And if I can put in some writing and get some writing done too, great bonus. But then I know next week's the week where I'm going to be really focusing on the writing. So yeah, it just sort of helps me do everything and get a little bit of everything done when I can. And then, yeah, spend that more focus, just so I just feel like I'm doing a bit of everything and getting it actually done, rather than just sort of not really getting anything done.
That's fair. I get that. I think that makes a whole lot of sense. And I like that you find the time to work on your manuscript if you can, but you don't actually plan for it, because I think that's a really nice way to give your brain a break from whatever novel or book you're currently working on. Because I know that there's a lot of people out there that say that you have to write every day or whatever. But even if you just write every other week, even if it's like 5 days a week or 7 days a week, every other week, that's still a routine and you're still making progress on your novel. And I think it really works that if you're able to take those breaks, even if it's a week, and then just work on it here and there on those off weeks, that must help a lot. And it must help you feel so refreshed when you do get back at the beginning of a writing week and you can really focus on your manuscript. And also, like you said, guilt-free. You don't have to worry about, oh, I didn't finish that blog post that's supposed to go up in a couple of days. And yeah, it sounds like you really worked it out for yourself. That sounds great.
Yes. Well, yeah, that's what, like I said, I've had a few different routines over the years, tried a few different things, but this one I sort of always do come back to, because that's the way it works for me. And you're right with the breaks. It does help, because I always find I seem to, especially if I'm stuck on, a plot point or something like that, usually if you're doing something else is when that'll come to you, you know what I mean? And so I find when I'm in that other week where I'm not really focused on the writing, a lot of times I will come up with an idea that I'll write down and go, oh, I've got to remember that for next week. And then, yeah, it does get you excited to go back to a writing week to go, okay, well, that's right, I was going to work on that one idea I had last week. And yeah, so that's really helpful too.
Well, that's just it. You tend to think of the ideas when you're not supposed to be thinking of them. Like, all the best ideas come when you're not even it's like when you lose something and you go nuts finding it and you can't find it, and then like 3 days later you've forgotten about it and you just happen to see it sitting right on the coffee table out in the open.
Yeah.
So we've talked a lot about your routine and your books, and obviously you're still writing. So would you care to share what you're currently working on now?
Yes, I'm currently working on, because with the Blackbirch books, even though they were it's contemporary fantasy, so it's set in, modern times, the real world, all that sort of stuff with a touch of magic. So for the next one, I'm sort of leaning towards a bit of a murder mystery. So there's no sort of magic or fantasy elements in this one. Well, at least not at this point. I don't know, that could change as I'm writing it. But at this point, yeah, it's I'm planning it to be a bit of a mystery and some murder thrown in there, and see where that goes. But I'm really excited to work on that. So yeah.
I do love a good murder mystery, so I will look forward to that.
Yes, all the true crime sort of TV shows and stuff I watch hopefully will put me out there.
It's the best fuel right there.
Yeah.
Will this be another series? Do you know?
No, it's not actually. It'll be my first standalone, which I'm actually looking forward to writing as well, because it'll be nice just to sort of contain everything in one book for once. Because obviously with a series, even though the story of one book's sort of its own story, you've got to have those little bits that lead to the next book, and even the last book and things like that. You've got to put all that sort of stuff in there. Whereas with this one, yeah, the idea I have is standalone, so I'm excited to work on just one story, that I can sort of start and end in one book. So that'll be new for me. And yeah, I'm looking forward to doing it.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm envious. Let me know how it feels to just write one book and be done with it.
Well, like I said, I'm still planning it, so who knows what the idea might
That's
change.
true.
But yeah.
That is true. I do find it funny that you pantsed your series and you're planning your standalone.
Yes.
Usually you'd think it would be flipped if you did one or the other.
Yeah.
Can I ask, what made you go back to fiction writing? Like, do you think you'll write any more nonfiction books?
I don't know. It depends, I guess, how much longer my blog goes for. It's sort of 8 years now. So I guess if I keep it going for the next few years and I have enough content that I think would make a good second nonfiction book, then yeah, certainly I would consider doing another one. Yeah. So, but other than that, no, I don't really have any ideas for nonfiction other than just help with writing and editing and checklists. Really, that's the way my brain goes for nonfiction stuff. So yeah,
Oh,
if I
that's
have more
fair.
ideas for it and more content and people want more, then sure, I'll certainly would consider in a few years' time either doing an updated book or doing a companion book with it. But other than that, yeah, my brain just sort of goes back to fiction now. So
Did you miss the fiction writing while working on the checklist book?
yes, yeah, I definitely missed I guess, yeah, working with characters and working with plots, and sort of like my favorite part of writing is when you sort of feel like a bit of a detective, when you've sort of got your first couple of drafts there and you sort of know the story, but then it's, making the connections and making sort of just the plot a bit deeper, the character connections a bit deeper and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, working out sort of how things fit together. That's what I love when it comes to writing. So it's always fun to get to that stage. So yeah, I'm always just trying to get through drafts so I can get to the stage where I'm just sort of doing puzzle pieces of everything and putting it all together.
That's nice. I like that. That's a nice way of putting it. Well, I do look forward to reading this murder mystery of yours whenever it decides to be ready and done. It has been really awesome having you on the show again. It's been nice to get back in touch with you. But I do have one quick final question for you before we wrap up. Do you prefer coffee or tea?
Hey.
Tea. Oh, okay. It's a good thing Ari's not here because she would have been so angry at you.
She's a bit of a coffee drinker, is she?
No, she's not. That was sarcasm. I just said
Oh.
that so that when Ari listens to the episode. No, that's actually a point for Ari because I'm the coffee drinker.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I think I'm still in the lead, so it's fine.
No, it's tea for me, specifically green tea. So I like
Oh,
green
okay.
tea. Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm not much of a coffee drinker. I don't even really like the smell of coffee, to be quite honest. So,
Really?
yeah.
Really? Wow. That's fair. I guess coffee, well, I don't know. I love the smell of coffee, so I guess I can't really say anything. Alrighty, well, now we will wrap it up. So before we actually go for real this time, do you want to share a little bit about yourself and your books to our listeners?
Well, yeah, like we've talked already, I've got the Blackbirch series, which is 4 books, and I also have my writing and editing checklist book, which is you can get in paperback and ebook, and then there's the free companion book, which is on my website, which is an ebook that you can download. And yeah, so basically anything you want to find out about me is on my website, which is kmallan.com, and that's Allan with an A, which tends to trick people up. So it's ALLAN.
I gotta be honest, even though I've been following your blog for a long time, we had you on the show before, I went nuts looking for your website because I kept spelling it EN, and I wrote the entire script spelling it EN. And then when Ari and when I was looking on your website for something, for some reason I zeroed in on that A, and I was like, oh shoot, I gotta fix it all. But all of Kate's links will be in the description below, so please do go check out her work and then give her a shout out in the comments. Remember, we release a new episode every Wednesday. Next week, we're discussing author brand stories. So to ensure you don't miss it, hit the subscribe button on your way out. As always, thanks for listening to the Merry Writer Podcast. We'll see you guys next week. This podcast is brought to you by Arguments Over Coffee and Tea. Which side are you on? The music titled Inspired is by Kevin MacLeod, licensed under Creative Commons 4.0.